Hello. Hello. How's it going, guys? How's it going? So I'm going to I need to get my glasses on. I lost my prescription glasses, so these are the only prescription glasses I have. I wear my sunshades when I stream. Sunglasses when I stream. All right, so I tried to implement the Malver's inventory add-on last night, and it went nowhere. And I realized it's probably not what I want, really. This is the Unity AI. So I just said the prompt was backflip animation. And boom, look at that. That's pretty crazy. Thousand and attack. Fast kung fu attack. Let's see how in depth it is. Yeah, it's I think it's kind of better. Sidekick. Kick. And the backflip animation is really well. The kung fu one didn't work well. Let's see here. Yeah, that's pretty good. Promote the current asset, promote to new assets, show and explore, show generation data. That's definitely cool. I'm going to play with that more, but I don't need it right now. All right, so we are back to planning. What I've done is I've used Gemini and Codex to get my project plan into Codex. So if you look here, I exported my project plan to CSV, and I was able to import it into Codex. And now I've got all these cards and tasks and whatnot. So that's pretty cool. Very handy, very handy. And now here's another part. So I gave it reference to the enemy AI from Malverse, and asked it to explain how it works, and then when it detects a player and where the code for detection is, and when it loses a player and loses detection. So when the enemy does detect them, I want to trigger the combat system and update the state machine. All right, so I've expanded the state machine off camera here. That's not it. So now I've got your battle intent. So basically a volume trigger or a combat trigger will cause a combat to start, or an enemy seeing you, or an enemy getting too close. And whenever you're in ATB waiting, you can move around. And whenever you're in action selection, the player's going to do that. We need to pause them here. So let's try this again. I'm going to attach my player. I just drag it over. How can I stop the player's movement input and turn it back on again? So let's see what it says. Playing with the Unity AI. I prefer Gemini and ChatGPT and my local AI models, but you know, I actually haven't tried it enough to say if I prefer this or not. Stop and rename players in. You can use the animals component, lock input, and lock movement properties. These properties allow you to whether the player can provide input or move the character. Sweet. Very cool. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Unity. Very cool. So we're going to go to base component. We're going to make this, because this is going to apply to enemies as well. I'm going to change it from combatant to actor because it's more generic and it's not always about combat. So that's why I think I need to confirm that the stream is working and all that real quick. Sure, looks like it. Link tree here again. I dropped links and all that jazz hang. YouTube, Kick, Twitch. Everybody, don't you know I'm done? I should do this beforehand, but I'll just a couple moments. Man, I hate the bots on X. The best analyst block. Let's see what we got going on here. I slept for shit last night. Finally alive. Ready to knock some code out. So I think I'm going to go with a Parasite Eve / sandbox type game like Elin and TV8 or Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead or RimWorld is a good example. I just want to kind of create the environment, give them the features and tools to play around and kind of make their own stories. It's going to be good. So let's go and refactor combatant. So I actor. And then base actor. Okay, so refactored those. Player animal. Okay, so it's weird that it's animal controller, but yeah, that's the asset. You know, can't be too big. It's inaccessible due to its Talking. It's funny, the Unity AI. It just kind of shows you that AI is not perfect, but it does kind of point you in the right direction 99% of the time. All right, so now we have the ability to stop inputs. Another thing I hate about AI is it always comments crap, and it puts the most ridiculously simple comments that are just not needed. And I just have to clean them up. Like, I need to remember to always tell it, do not write any comments in the code, like, unless I ask it to, because they're usually useless, and I just get rid of them anyways. All right, so we have that. So what I want to do is basically get the battle manager going. I'm going to create a trigger. Counter trigger. That's what I want. So this script should, when the player walks in, battle and ends. All right. And now I want to also create player prefix. If the current state in the new state return. Player can move while the ATB charges. Current state with ATB waiting. Update all combatants ATB. Check for battle end. So as your active time or battle, whatever that is really, is going up, and until it's your turn, you'll just be able to move around. Now, once you are added to the ready combatants, we queue up. So say two people, the enemy and me, become ready for their turn, same frame. It's going to queue it up instead of just doing it. That way we can work through the list instead of possibly having to conflict or fight for two things happening at once. Sort of a race condition. All right, so as soon as we get logic to show player UI, pause player movement. Could be merged with action and use the same queue. They do. But let's do this. So we're in action selection. I want to pause actor movement. This is going to be for everybody. To how would these be serializable? Q is new. References. So initiate combat, we're going to clear the active combatants, enemies, and action queue. Spawn and set the player. No, I don't. The player should already be in the scene, so I don't think this makes any sense. Unless I'm swapping the prefab for non-combat with combat. Might be advantageous because The non-combat one could be decoupled from the combat version of the enemy, but then I gotta swap them in place. What I'll have the clear is awake start. Active combatants. Player prefab is we're going to set the player go. I think it's okay to have him in the active combatants constantly, even though it's going to clear out on battle intent. So let's do this. At all. So initialize battle. Now we're not going to spawn enemies for now. Give a brief moment for systems to initialize. 1 second. Set ATV waiting. Now this will be get the enemies around me because you're going to be on the field. I'm not going to be spawning or creating them. So yeah. I'll leave that out for now. Let's just get to where we can initialize battle. And then also we are in the waiting state, transition, execution. Continue waiting, change to that makes sense. Player can move. I'm gonna add an ID. It's gonna be a GUID. It's gonna be an integer. GUID's easier. I don't have to go see if the integer's already there. And I don't have to keep a running increment. Sure. Under so at least everybody gets a unique identifier. That'll help me in debugging reasons. I don't think I'll have too much use outside of that, but you never know. Right, so we got that. These guys need to get pushed up into interface. I think I'm going to allow this one to be written. It's going to have a concrete implementation. I'll make it virtual later if I need to. All right. Got that. Now in the battle manager, we find we have ready combatants. If there's any, we're going to add them to the queue. And if we are currently waiting, then we want to actually go into execution. Active actors. Now, if anyone is in action selection, I'm going to pause everybody. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's what. So. Mm, right. Faster. Zoom actor movement. Oh, re-enable movements for everybody. Initializing battle. Add the player. So we're just going to simulate the player thinking and then let them act. Act is just going to. Now we'll just make it log it and then we'll simulate a wait too. Iterator interface. It's act. Right, rid of that. Whatever. Now it'll simulate a 2-second wait. We're going to use an interrelated string. Is this happiness? I'm dumb when it comes to English. We don't have access to combatant. Pull that up into the interface. Instructor equals. That's I could get to the game object. Pull it up into the interface. I actually want, so I go current. That way I can just quickly know what's doing what. Reset the ATP to 0. What we're going to do is create a sphere. So I don't actually want, this is going to be a trigger. But take the mesh out. Equation. Orthographic, it's handy for lining stuff up. Top down. Perfect. In this corner, so I know if I walk into this corner, anywhere over here, it should trigger combat to start. Trigger. Go. Yep. What's up, man? Oh no. Oh no. Are you in source control? I actually rolled back everything I did with the inventory stuff last night. I wasn't too, I just really didn't like the feature set really of that inventory system. And so I'm going forward without that for now. I'm going to probably roll my own inventory system. It's going to be way simpler. Counter trigger by lock on target. Enemy search health. Rider cowboy. Gotcha. Did we actually start combat? Initializing combat. Oh, I'm untagged. I'm not, I don't have the right tag. Did I not add a player character to this guy? Oh yeah, I did it to the horse. That's right. Paste component is new. I don't. I'm not going to go off player tag. I'm going to go off interface. So other dots. Get component player character. Actor is player character. So this should trigger now whenever I walk into it. I'm working on the battle manager and the finite state machine logic right now. So there we go. Cool. Well, not cool. Is no. So the fact, I don't know why I'm storing it. Just no, it guarantees it's not null. Singletons, you know, single. If you use a lot of singletons, you'll be single. That's what I hear. Sounds peaceful. What was the change you were working on? And sometimes I just loathe triggers. P. Control P is play or stop or start the editor. I like this attach to Unity and play feature in Visual Studio. Very nice. Very nice. So Mobbers has got as follows the scriptable object architecture. So it uses like float var. It decouples everything. It's kind of nice because like the player character is a the reference to the player character, or whatever, is a scriptable object that everybody can kind of use or look at. And that way you never have to reference directly, like this, the UI script doesn't have to reference the actors and vice versa. I'm going to try to follow their architecture, but sometimes I get lost in the sauce and I kind of get lazy. That text animation stuff actually worked pretty good in the Unity AI. I was very impressed. I think Malware's has got a very clean solution, and I like what they've done. I just got to finish wrapping my head around it. Let me actually change this. There we go. All right. So if you highlight any chunk of code, you hit quick watch, you can see what the result's going to be right there. Close, so that's true. Wait. Why didn't it go in? Oh, that's lock on target. It's enemy health. Oh, yeah. Interactions. Okay. Yeah, there's these horses back here. Boy, that's a lot of colliders. Yeah, it's horse season here. It's Parasite Eve had horses. So we have a rigid body, the capsule collider, but I bet you there's a sub collider that's responsible for collision events. Interactions. Lock collider is a trigger. Yep. All right. So this means if my collider that's going to hit the thing here. So I got to go straight up to the parent. Interactor reactions. Debug event. Invoke. Oh, I'm an idiot. I never put the battle manager in the scene and I'm trying to reference it. That should be under... All this systems. Create empty. Battle. Manager. was like, why is it net or why is it null? I wasn't thinking. I'm learning malwares pretty well. Like, I'm gonna see how much I like dealing with it versus Invector. Invector is where I spent a lot of my time when it comes to third-person character controllers, and I really like that system. But it has its shortcomings as well. Let's go ahead and disable all these horses. Less noise going on. And we're going to properties. That's one of the best features they've added is you able to right click anything in the hierarchy and do a properties and open up a temporary inspector to that object. So that your normal inspector, you don't have to lock it, but you can still get your none of that really matters right now. Stop. So the player's interactor. Gonna give it the battle manager. I'm gonna have it call. Oh, I forget how those work. Start coroutine, initialize battle. Control T is the best way to find stuff in code or in Visual Studio. That's how I navigate around, especially if you know your class names. We're gonna have it called change state. I forget there's something you gotta do with the methods to where it makes them visible. And the inspector is a make the method public. And parameter and cast it as game states. Oh, that's right. Create an overloaded method that takes an int. They're very basic parameters. You got to keep them kind of simple, POCO, I think. So now this one should be visible. I gotta would be one. Flip the interactable index. Set to 0 or 1 to use this reaction with all interactables. And battle. And bar. I wonder if I need that. We're going to find out. Change states. So now I can take my I don't know how this actually works, but it invokes events when interactions with an interactable. On interaction with let's look at how this script works. The component stores the index and game object of an interactable and invokes events that can be used to create reactions according to each interactable value. It also executes the interaction logic on the interaction. And as parameter, find interfaces interactable. Oh, that's cool. I bet you that's more performant than actually doing a get component on it. Get components of parent. Okay, so it does check everybody. Let's see what happens. So Reaction. Basically, reactions is what. Hold on a second. Sorry, the cats wouldn't leave the room. All right, what was I doing? That. I think this interactor is going to fire off no matter which one. I don't think it's going to work like I want it, but let's see. I think it worked, but there's more issues. So we initialize battle. Looks like the changing ATB to waiting. State changed. And then we're getting good value. So the so I don't want it to instantly change the state. I want it to I want a method that basically says start combat, and it will not do anything if we are already in there. But I do want to put a breakpoint right here and see why that was null. That. Oh. That ref health. What is the health? Oh, it's alive. Get that. I bet you that's aired out. Bet you we never reach right here. No. Didn't set ATB on the players. Oh, stats. Where are your stats? Ah, that'll do it every time. So I think I set all the stats up on the horse. Yeah, I knew it. Copy component. I thought the horse was the actual base component values. There we go. So now, when we go into ATB, it should be there. And we got our ATB. Now we should come out. Modify that stat. Current ATB value is 100. 103. Or 123 something. And it's greater than the max ATB. So now we're in here. We're going to act. Well, now we have a ready combatant. And when we have a ready combatant, we're going to check if any of them are ready. Then we come in, we queue them up in the action queue. And if we're in the waiting state, transition to execution, which is right. So a new state, we're going to execute actions. Now, if more than one thing gets queued up, we're just going to dequeue it. Well, I guess we wanted to unqueue. That's right. There you go. First come, first serve. And we are the player character. We're changing to action selection, which right now we don't have any logic here. So it's just a spoofing it. Check if all enemies are dead. All enemies defeated, victory, and we're going to end the battle. Okay, so that's all working. That's good. We're flipping through our states. Now ATB needs to start at 0. So when I initialize battle, I want to also player.stats modify set stat 0. And I'll do the same for the enemies. I need to put a fake enemy in here because battle's going to end instantly because we have no enemies and we can't check if they're alive. So if you think about Parasite Eve, you come in, battle starts, so you got your battle initialization. I can walk around and then all that goodness. Save this. And then it should be good. So I'm going to create just an empty game object. And it'll be our fake enemy. Cube. This bad boy is going to be an enemy. And battle manager. Now, right now, I don't like this, but the battle manager required is set it in the there, spawn point. We're not using that. Here we're going to uncomment. Oops. So if it's enemies walking around in the level, I have no need to like spawn them anywhere or instantiate them because they're there in the world already. Whereas in Parasite Eve, you'd be walking, and then all of a sudden combat would start, and then enemies would be spawned. So basically, there's this concept of an arena for every combat encounter. And I don't know if I'm going to follow that same paradigm. I may go more with the Chrono Trigger kind of approach where you see the enemies on the screen, you can avoid them, but if you get into combat with them, they're just there. They're going to start acting combat-wise. So we're going to comment out the initialization. That should be good enough right there. But we also want to modify their ATB to 0 on battle and end. So everybody starts off with 0 ATB unless you have a skill or something that would start you at half full or whatnot. Everybody's starting at 0. Now they're both going to accumulate ATB equally at the same rate. So they're both going to fire off at the same time right now. So what I'm going to do now is go to the enemy class. So far, the enemy and the player characters have not really diverged or had any logic that didn't apply to both of them. So right now, I have a base class called base actor that implements my eye actor interface, and the take damage, die, act, and update ATB. Everything's shared right now because I was starting to get duplicate code between the enemy and the character. So all right, I need to get down to a base class, and this way I can use virtuals. So like right now, what I'm going to do is have the enemy override this implementation and make it its ATB acquire tick up slower. So we're going to say override update ATB. Now instead of the base implementation, I'm just going to completely ignore it and then do a home custom thing here for now. It's gonna acquire at half the rate of the player. So enemies are half rate ATB amassing accumulation. Enemies not enemy. So what we should have now is I trigger combat, I reset the ATB to 0 on the initialization, and then suddenly I should stop being able to move because I've hooked into the Malver's controller and it should stop movement. So we're starting battle, returning to exploration. Victory already. What the hell? Oh. The enemies don't have stats. So it's going to instantly think it's dead. Let's go to the in battle logic. I'm just going to tweak that for now. So it basically went into combat and went right back out. All right, we're in combat. Player turn to act, execution. I can't move. Beat. Action. Player's turn to act. Player is ready to act, so it was pretty fast. Back in action selection. I guess that makes sense because change the AT when okay, yeah, it is. So it's basically going. It's simulating the action. It's going back to waiting, simulating, but it's so fast that I don't really get to feel the effect of it. So I'm gonna slow this way down for now. 0.05. Oh, we should. Probably still gonna be fast. Yep. Pretty fast. Basically, like I get to move for a split second, and then I'm back to attack. Yeah. So we gotta make it even slower. It's probably still gonna be too slow or too fast. I need to figure out the calculations and like X number of time. So we're out of combat. We're in combat. I can move. I'm stuck. Move. I'm stuck. Move. Stuck. Still fast as hell. Let's up the ATB to get it to where I have more time. Ooh. 1,000. Probably not enough still. Let's just do 10,000. just so I can see it working better. I'm moving, stuck, moving, stuck, moving, stuck. It wasn't fast the first time, but the second time it was like right back to instantaneous. Reset it to 0. Alright, let's up it again. I'll figure out the timing, but it's working. It's just working too fast. Set the multiplier to be used as modified. Generate. Reset to max value. Reset on enable. Okay. This should be, I should be able to walk, stop, walk, stop, walk, stop, and it's simulating me getting my turn. I hit my turn. So fast. Quick launch. Put a breakpoint inside here. Nine. Nine. Find the stat using his name. And now we're coming in to modify. Value 0. That. Holy cow. So it did it. I'm already ready to act again. What the hell? Let's debug out the current ATB value. $. Boom. Wow, that goes up fast. So after I set it to 0, it just flies. So I need to figure out the calculation. I wonder why the first time, though, it's slower. ATB 0, boom, 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 boom. It's almost exponential. Like here, it finally goes positive. The next time, it's double, double, double. Or it's like doubling every time. Really slow it down. I'm going to figure out the math. How to. I'm going to do a duration instead of trying to. I'll see. I know what logic I need here, but I'm just wanting to see that boom, move, boom, move, boom, move, boom, just to signify I'm simulating my turn coming up, and then I get into movement and I get out of movement. So moving, boom, moving, boom. So fast on the second go round. Interesting. So like my ATV at first time is slow. Ready to act. So it's 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. Do I need to set the ATV increase to make it every 5 seconds? Oh, I was going the other way. I was making it faster with my modifications, I guess. Units per second reaching 100. That seems counterintuitive. Um, it could be modify stat too, because I'm using his stat system and he's using this multiplier on the modifier. Could be partially responsible. Let's see. Oh, shit. I hate when I forget that I'm in the editor or in play mode and I edit things. Combat, ready to act. Yeah, that's not every 5 seconds, for damn sure. Instantly ready to act. How does this work? Crazy, it knew. I didn't give it any context, but it knew ATB was a Final Fantasy based thing. That's just crazy. Well, I mean, not too crazy to think of. It knows all the things. Fuel. If you want to wrap automatically without nerf. Been a while since I've done time.delta or AT or any timing logic. That should do it. Still running. Ah, ready to act. Aha, I'm running. There we go. 5 seconds probably. It should be working now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there we go. We got it. All right, now I just need to make that based off of their speed or stats instead of basically now I'm simulating Parasite Eve. You run around dodging or you run away from enemies, and your turn comes up, boom, you stop. You're gonna stop for 2 seconds right now is the way I have it. Badass, badass, badass. Enemies aren't gonna stop anything. They'll take their action and you can still move. So if they shoot a projectile or they do whatever, you have a chance to get out of the way. I could even Dark Souls it a little. That roll gives you immunity frames. Sweet. Okay. All right, so we have that, but now I want to basically drive that off of a stat. I gotta go watch some Parasite gameplay. I can't remember. Rain. Sweet. You get your turn-based glory with a little bit of real-time action. You're doing your, when she shoots, they are able to move again. But when she's casting a spell, they can't move. And next time she shoots, I'll bet you. So when she's shooting, it will be an active state for the player. The enemies can still move. Okay, not too crazy. Now let's get our sphere popping up. Sphere. So put it in meshes. Let's reset the transform. So I wanted to, on player's action, this will start small and scale up. So modernizing it. Let's watch more combat so I can just kind of think through. The sphere is a neat concept, but as you can see, they kind of just, if you're shooting, you just kind of do it as fast as you can. The sphere never even really ever gets fully out there. I'm also watching someone who's played a ton of this. Is there any point in the sphere? Right now, as I'm seeing it, if the combat flows like this, and you're not gonna use magic, you're just gonna shoot. It's like not even seeing the old sphere. Let's go back before she has a haste spell. Maybe that'll be different. Now, I need to play it myself so I can see what happens when there's nothing in the sphere. I don't think you can hit anything. Well, it shoots still, but miss. See, she's got her ATB full and she's not taking it. So you can actually initiate when your turn starts. So it shouldn't automatically trigger. Okay. So it shouldn't trigger automatically. It should whenever you hit the attack button or the menu button. I'm gonna go see Parasite Eve 2's combat.
A no commentary, which will be, but like level 3 is when it's just direct DPS and there's like no knockback. So as you're upgrading, you can knock it backwards. Early levels of pyrokinesis, by the way, can knock it backwards. Spam and pyrokinesis aren't a threat, so just run to the stairs.
So Parasite Eve 2 actually...
Just be spamming pyrokinesis. The occasional lucky crit is going to be enough
What the hell?
to knock it backwards.
She's just firing off.
Early levels of pyrokinesis, by the way, can actually do some knockback. But like level 3 is when it's just direct DPS and there's like no knockback. So as you're upgrading your PE, be aware of that. A lot of the enemies here actually have pretty high HP from the get-go.
Differences between Parasite Eve and Eve.
Find a recovery too there.
Really looks like they've gotten away from turn and shoot. It looks like you can just shoot freely.
But there's like kind of no point.
There's no pausing, select commands, attacking, using P, building, dodging. All happen more fluid and action-packed. No targeting. Players must manually aim at enemies, and there is no visual indicator of weapon's effective range requiring a greater degree of spatial awareness. While the first game had a regenerating pool of E, Parasite 2 is treated like traditional magic meter that needs to be replenished with items. See, I want that strategic thing. I don't want the reflex. It can be, as you were saying, like it's pretty quick. If you're just gonna go right, shoot. Maybe I can find a happy medium. That sphere, the green sphere, is kind of like.
So here's where the audio gets a little dodgy, and I'm sorry about that. I tried to clear it up by using the declicker and Adobe Audition, which wound up mixing it in with the lows, but didn't remove it completely. I've since fixed the issue during Disk 2. The rats here are easy to kill. It's just 4 shots each. There's also some moths off screen as well, which you can just kill in 1 shot. You can switch between burst fire with R1 and firing single shots with R2. I put the Tonfa on as an attachment so I can have a little fun with it. The Tonfa is able to hit these guys through the counter as long as the hitbox projects far enough. Takes forever though, so I just recommend using Pyrokinesis.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Parasite E1 way. I don't want it to be just kind of
Still did it anyway, just to demonstrate.
hopping off, because I want, something where you can be fast.
Like the few regular weapons that is actually able to just like hit through walls. Hitting through walls.
This is just too
Theme in Parasite Eve 2,
action RPG-ish now.
which I will absolutely be sure to demonstrate.
So I want you to be able to think and be strategic, but how can I make it even more strategic? How can I improve upon Parasite E1?
But eventually I got tired. If it's starting to wear on my patience, it's...
Because then you got kind of bullet hell, an aspect of bullet hell in here, and you got to be strategic. But you can stop and think. So ATBR fills. You don't have to use it right away. You can keep moving, and then you hit the attack button to initiate it. Sphere comes up, or you can cast a spell. And I'm going to have it with, you're going to have your gun as your default action, whatever you got equipped. And then also you're going to have quick action, or 3 or 4 spells that you can queue up, or abilities. And you quickly select those, so there's no menuing, less menuing. You can go into the menu and go or pick a different action or something that isn't on the quick actions. That way you stay in the combat, but it's still tactical. And you can react instantly with a spell. Well, spells pause the enemies like this. Because right now, that sphere is just going to be there. I'm going to get into it. Now my turn hits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, pause. Okay. So, can move. Players' movement and animations are stopped. Now, when you stop, I think I also want to switch them into an animation state where they're like in a ready state. Well, it seems like that 5 seconds is not consistent. 22, 28, 28, 34 seconds. 34 to 40. Yeah, it's not perfect, but I will figure that out. Oh, I know what I need to do. I need to add the time delta to a value each turn until it hits 5 seconds. It's not probably what I'm doing. But let's do this. Let's go ahead and get it to where the sphere will appear when the turn is ready. And I'm going to make it pause for a little bit longer. So let's go 3 seconds. Now, for the player character, obviously the act is going to be different. So we're going to implement that at the player character level. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get rid of that actually. So let's do the weight in the battle manager. Fake weight. Okay, I don't have that there. Battle manager. And where are we simulating the weight? Five. Now act is going to here. So the player is, this is where we're going to differ from the enemies. The enemies don't have the sphere. So we're going to do one object, target, sphere. Actually, I want this to be a serializable field. I want to set this in the inspector. Still getting used to this keyboard, man. I can't type for shit with it. I hate switching keyboards. It always ends up being weird. Alright, so now we can set the sphere. And I'm going to want the sphere to public sphere or enable local scale equals well, let's start when you enable it, it's going to just be 1. And then I want a coroutine that's going to cause it to increase. So the action's going to kick off a coroutine. Increase the sphere size to scale to 500 over 2 seconds. Sorry, forgot to unmute. Let's get that. We're gonna lerp for 2 seconds. Target scale, okay. That should do it. Serializable. So I can adjust it here to get it just right. We're going to enable the sphere before we start the coroutine. And then we will what will we do? Let's just see that work for now. So I need a disable sphere. We are vibe coding a Parasite Eve combat system from the PlayStation 1 game Parasite Eve. Sort of like, this is kind of the objective. It's kind of a tactical RPG where, you know, you got a action bar fills up and you got different skills and you got your gun, you can shoot. We are vibe coding it up. So I use kind of deep research to kind of start and plan it out. So I use like Gemini's deep research to create a project plan, and then kind of something that I can work towards with the agents and the co-pilot. And so then I took that, I extrapolated it out to stories, if you will, but I'm using Codex. So now I've got all my tasks here. Oh, it's great. It's one of my favorite RPGs. And I like the tactical side of the combat. I didn't want a real twitchy or like reflex based thing, but still some real time action. It's a cool system. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do, is just work towards that. I'm getting there. Let's go ahead and set this guy 1 1 1. Now on the player, we're going to reference our sphere. So now when the turn starts, we should see the sphere grow over 2 seconds. Let's see if that happens. It's a great. I don't know. I highly recommend it. It's a good PlayStation 1 game. Parasite Eve 2 was a little more real time combat-y. So now, after 5 seconds, I should get into my turn. Sphere is still tiny. Oh, there it goes. Oh, I know why that is. I know why that is. Okay, hold on. I'm faking my delay or my turn stuff before the sphere goes off. Simulate player thinking, because right now you either when your turn comes up you can shoot, attack, or whatever, but right now I'm just kind of faking it. So now we should see it grow, and I have a box that triggers combat sitting right about here. So I'm not in combat until I walk across the collider that's kind of sitting there. Now combat started. 5-second timer. It should stop me. There we go. 2 seconds is way too slow. And boy, is that thing hard to see. I can move again. Now it's going down. Okay. But every time I stop is technically my turn in the combat system. So right now I'm free to move. Turn happened. Sphere is not doing what I would expect. Sphere scale over time. Or, actually, and battle manager. Current state not equal to action selection. So is that what I want? Some of, or a couple of them, but they're a lot to learn. They're a lot to learn. But you know, they look good back there. My ADHD impulse buy. I'll take years to probably play them all. Actually, let's do this. If is not equal to action selection, then we're going to exit. I don't know why it's putting it way the hell out there. Need a board game night. Zach, or a friend of mine, I didn't realize it, but him, a couple people from work have been playing board games pretty regularly. I just wish they lived closer, or like the board game nights were right after I left work. The hermit in me is like, I gotta drive somewhere to have fun. I'm gonna try to attend them more. I had a blast when I did go over there and play with them. And I won the first time I played Brass Birmingham. Didn't think I would like that game, but it is actually pretty good. I set fire to the rain. Why is that song in my head? So our sphere growth will exit anytime. It does. It does. That's why I like co-op games. We're all working together, like Arkham Horror. You're working together to a goal. I'm not a very competitive person. Like I can be if it's like I'd rather compete if it's like life or death. Disable sphere. Take it back down to 0. 1 scale. So now this line doesn't make any sense. Don't need it. Oh, actually, that line was causing a bug. That's why the sphere was like. What are those? Saboteur? I don't know the theme of those two. Or is it co-op with a saboteur, or is it are everyone against everybody, free for all? Instead of doing a fake weight, I'm going to action selection. Yeah, like Avalon and Werewolf. I always wanted to play those. Yeah, like that. Those sound awesome. I'd play them. I got Dead of Winter. It has a saboteur. Uh, it's a good one. Yeah, that's what I figured. I saw that Avalon sitting on the desk at work. I was like, oh, that'd be interesting. It's such a cool concept. It's such a psychological game. If input, I'm gonna just get key down space. And then this will be what will signify I took my action. And we will change it, the state. So execute actions. We're in action selection. Wait. Once the queue is empty, go back to waiting. So basically, this should trigger out. It's going to put us into action selection, execute actions, and then up here. How do I want to do that? Let's go ahead and just make our own method for this. Extract method. Okay. Oh, it's underscore player is what I was looking for. Player act. So when I hit that space button, okay, yeah, that's how it's going to work. Because again, your ATB bar can fill, and you can walk around with it full, and then I hit space, and then that should start to come up. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to stop the movement, and then we'll act. And this is going to be 0.05. I want to be much faster. Now it should be. So action execution. I was gonna say, dude, yeah, let's definitely have a board game night for sure. I would totally be down. I would be down. All right, have a good dinner. I'm gonna go grab me a drink real fast while I think about this finite state machine and the order of operations. BRB. Oh, the only reason I'm living is energy drinks at the moment. And the last one, though. It's already got. Shouldn't be drinking them at 6 at night. But it's so tasty. I do like the taste of that one. So when my ATB bar is full, it doesn't mean we're going to go into action selection right away. And I don't want to be resuming movement every single ATB waiting. That's just a lot of wasted processing right there. I want this to be after execute actions. That way that only fires off once. Actually, so I think the next step is I'm going to create the UI elements for the ATB bar and get that all popping up on the screen. Well, I want to see the sphere grow real quick, so. If right now, if anyone's ATB is full, we're going to go right into execute actions. Enemies, and that's fine. The player, when he is ready to act, because right now the ATB fills and it goes right into action selection, which I don't want. I want it to be when the player initiates it, but I want everyone else's ATBs to be able to fill and be executed as well. And if anybody's in the queue, so I think my if statement should be like this. Because basically, if anybody's ATB is full, it's going to kick us into action execution, which is fine, but I need, it doesn't mean that I'm acting right away, and I need the enemy's ATBs to still be checked or to proceed to fill, and enemy's actions to proceed to execute. So it's almost like ATB waiting would we would stay in ATB waiting unless the player how's that gonna work? Execute actions is still going to update ADBs except for the players. And that way, until we'll just stay in that state until I hit the space button, which would be simulating me taking an action. But the other combatants combatants yeah, that's it. Well, no, if it's a player combatant and their ATB bar is filled, I don't want to update it again. Is equal to or max. Because the state could be executing actions. And anybody can put us into executing action. I don't think this really matters, but I'm going to put it there for now. So if we are filled, I'm going to keep doing it. And that means in execute actions, I'm going to keep doing this. So we're in execute actions. I'm still not ready to take an action, but my ATB is full, so I am a ready combatant. And I will, every time I come in, or I will update. Actually, I want this to happen every time, not just here. So we're going to keep coming in. Because if I'm in the queue, we're going to be still rolling, and I want. The enemy's turn shouldn't change the state. It should just act and do its thing. Because their actions don't stop anyone else, as far as I know. And them acting shouldn't. They should just do their thing, and then I'm moving. They fire about fireball or they attack. They don't hit me, but I'm still moving, and everybody else is still moving, and everybody else's ATB is ticking up. Yeah, I think this is how it should be. And then once we get into action selection, take the space out of this guy. Hit the key. Everybody stop. Yes. I think this will work. So, entering combat. 5 seconds for hits. Hit space. Ooh. It's resetting ATB. Player's turn to act. Really, that should just keep coming in. But since I'm resetting, it's going to be every 5 seconds. I bet you the input system is not on. Let's see. Where's that? It's in player, right? Key down. Execute actions is only going to happen every. Okay. If I don't, I got to do it right at the moment that I'm in there. That's why it's not working. So I think act is what should reset the ATB instead of every time we're looping through execute actions. Because basically what's happening is every 5 seconds I get a frame essentially to hit that space key right now, and it'll catch, which is not good. Now enemies' stats will reset after they act. And I will stay in here. Waiting ATB should allow the enemies to still attack. I should stay in that. Let me think. Because execute actions is going to behave while an update. If I hit space and my ATB bar is filled, I want to go into action selection. But I also don't want to get queued up. Right. Let's try that. So if input manager, and this is just temporary logic. Get out of here, you bastard. We will go into action selection. Then action selection is going to cause all this to, or cause it to pause. Essentially, that will let the, and then we're going to reset the ATB for the player after the act. Yep. Okay, so that means we're ATB is we're going to be updating ATB while waiting. And then if an enemy hits, it's still going to go into execute actions. We're never going to go into here until I initiate it. And execute actions will still update ATB. So my actions are never going to fire off here, so I don't think I want any logic right here. And I don't think I want to queue up the player. Because I'll take my turn whenever. I don't need to go in the queue. Third. So that means I never want to add the player to the queue. Right? This is all about the enemy. I want my ATB to update though on the player. So I still want my ATB to update, but that should work. So now there we go. Did it? Now I should. Let's implement the ATB bar so I can see this visually. It should have exited right there, but it didn't. So I will look into that. I'm getting hungry. I have crisp. What else can I do? I think I would still add it to the queue. No, it wasn't. Because I just want that log firing off. So what I'm gonna do is this. So if I check it before I get to max, yeah, so I should still get my log that lets me know the player is ready. And then, yeah. This is fine. Oh, I don't update the state. That's why I got stuck. So we act. We never get out of... yeah. So as we come out of the player's action, we'll have 0 ATB in the... Malbur's controller will cause me to jump when I hit space. I'm going to change it to F1 for now to get around that. And I'll just call it in. Should get our log ready to act. It stopped. Our sphere is not working, but it is working. So if I hit N, I stop for a moment. We'll pause that. We're going to come in here. We're going to enable the sphere. so I don't think I can count on state here. Because I hit it, and then a monster's ATB is full, we're going to be in executing actions. And it is so funny. I'm gonna go run and get dinner, and then I'll come back. I'll be streaming again, but I don't want to like have you guys wait while I'm getting some food or anything. So I'm gonna end the stream here. Good progress on the battle manager and the states, the finite state machine for Parasite Eve 1. Pretty good progress. In 3 hours. So I'm happy. I'm going to keep noodling it while I'm eating, and I will be back. Peace, y'all.